I'm wearing this cap, man, because I'm having a bad hair day.
I always have one of them.
It's tough when you're in a band. Really made us feel a bummer, but you know, we've got some things up our sleeve.
How tight were your spandex? Welcome to Iridium Rock and Metal Reviews, and today I have a very special guest. I'm honoured to have with me Mr. Michael Sweet. Michael, how you doing?
I'm doing well, buddy. I really am, and I want to say it's an honor to be here with you. And I don't know how long it took you to get this interview, but I pushed it through. And as a matter of fact, I just kind of went around, sources, and I just said, I reached out to you personally, said, let's do this, you know?
Oh man, really appreciate it. As you know, long time fan, as you've been watching the videos, and I think a lot of the music. So I just can't believe you're here. It's great.
Well, man, we are very grateful for you and all that you do, and it's amazing, people like yourself who are out there waving the Stryper flag and doing so with a really incredibly deep love for the band and respect for the band. It means the world to us. It really does. So, I wanted to make sure that you knew that. That's why I posted a few of your videos up on my Facebook page. And that's why I'm here right now, man, because I respect what you do. It's really awesome.
Cool. That's cool. So obviously I want to speak about the album. It's been out now, September the 4th?
Yeah, September 4th.
So, I mean, it's been doing well. I can see like chart-wise, but have you got any idea commercially how it's doing now?
Well, I mean, it's tricky with Stryper because where we're at this point in our career and the label that we're with and, the way the music industry is, the state of the industry, it's pretty much a situation where we release an album, it does its thing, and then it gets real quiet. That's pretty much how it works. Now, in the old days, it was almost the opposite, where you would release an album and then you'd keep building it and it would start making more and more noise after the release.
Yeah.
Now, the albums make all the noise before the release and then quiet down after the release. At least that's the case for us, Stryper. And it's a little bit of a bummer, but, we've got some things up our sleeve. We're going to be releasing another video for the song Divider.
Yeah.
We're also, we recorded the album in its entirety live.
Man,
in the studio.
I was going to ask about that because you're doing that and To Hell with the Devil completely live in the studio, all recorded. What I was going to ask actually is, how is that going to be, how are you going to get hold of that? Is it going to be an actual album? Is it going to be a stream? Is it going to be, how are you going to do that?
It's going to be done in different steps, different formats. So the first initial release will be a rent or purchase on demand, not a stream, but you'll be able to, go and rent it like you rent a movie, on your local cable, whatever you have in your area. And then we'll probably release it to places like Amazon, Netflix, Hulu, those sorts of places. And then we'll release it eventually, actually, hard copies of probably vinyl, CDs, and a DVD.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. I was wondering, how am I going to get to watch that? So hopefully, I don't know how long it'll take to get to, I've got Amazon and all that. So hopefully I'll be able to get to watch it quite quick. But I'm sure you'll be showing some little bits on YouTube and stuff.
Oh, man, I think you'll get to watch it because the format we're going to do, I forget the company we're talking to. I think it's a worldwide thing, and you'll be able to watch it right when it comes out. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. This now, Even the Devil Believes. I'm sure you saw some of my reactions to the songs. It's a brilliant album, and it seems to have been so well received by critics and especially fans. So you seem to have really gave the fans what they wanted on this album. And is that something you really aim for? Do you listen to the fans? Or because a lot of artists, they go off and do what they want, don't they? They just go, I want to do this. I'm an artist. I can do whatever I want. But you guys seem to have touched base with all the fans on this one, giving them a bit of everything they want.
Yeah, I mean, we try. I mean, it's tough when you're in a band. I mean, your first, you know, thought is, as you age and you're trying to reinvent the wheel, so to speak, you start thinking about, hey, what can we do that's different? And some bands really go down a different path. They change their entire sound, like, I mean, completely. And, you know, sometimes it works. Most of the time it doesn't work, because you alienate your fan base, the fan base that puts you where you are. Stryper did that to a degree with albums like Reborn, Murder by Pride, not so much, but even somewhat on that album. And then I feel like we really found ourselves again, and especially from the fans' point of view, of what the fans really wanted us to perform and create, was No More Hell to Pay.
Definitely.
That album really brought us back. Like, okay, we're back. Here we are. This is Stryper. This is the classic sound you want, but it's modernized a little bit, but not so much so that we lost our classic sound.
Yeah, I mean, the songwriting on that album, man, it was just like you said, it was straight back. I mean, did that sort of come? Is it sort of a natural thing that came? Or was it like you really thought, right, we've got to become what we were? Or was it just you had so much, you know, at that time, all the songwriting came, and it came at the right time? Is that what it was?
Well, you know what I think it was? I think it was a number of things. Number one being the fact that we recorded and produced the covering.
Yeah.
Okay. And then after the covering, we recorded and produced an album called Second Coming. So those two albums really made us go back. They forced us to go back and listen to our roots, listen to the songs that shaped us. And I think by doing that, when it came time to record No More Hell to Pay, we had a clearer vision of who we were and who we should be. You know, and instead of listening to modern rock bands and this and that was going on at the time, we were listening to the old albums we used to listen to in the garage when we formed.
Right.
And I think that really helped us.
Brilliant. Oh, but you've mentioned the covering. Yes, a few people have been like firing questions at me to ask you, you know. So this is one that I want to know this anyway. You mentioned the covering too a long time ago. You thinking about that still?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You know, the tricky part is, man, it's so hard. We're just constantly doing projects, whether it's Stryper or me on my own or the other guys or whatever. So it's very difficult to fit it all into a year, you know, and schedule. So we want to do a covering too. We want to do a Third Coming, you know, another Second Coming. We want to do a Christmas album. There's so much we want to do, and we're going to get around to it. It just might take a little time, but we'll definitely get to it for sure.
I was going to say, man, when do you get time to do anything? I mean, you was recording today, weren't you? You was recording today.
I'm tracking vocals, man, for the new Sunborn album. And that got put on a shelf for a while for a number of reasons, but I'm finally finishing it up. I've got one more day, today and tomorrow, and I go in and turn the vocals in. And that's what I mean. We're always doing stuff. It's crazy, but I mean, I'm not complaining. I'm very happy about that.
This project you're doing now then, Sunborn, is that what we expect to hear that musically? Well,
you know, Tracy, it's a project with Tracy Guns.
Yeah.
So it's basically, in a nutshell, in my opinion, it's his solo album.
Yeah.
Okay. And he originally had the singer, the bass player who plays, I can't think of his name right now. You might know it. He plays in Whitesnake.
Oh, well, I have seen Whitesnake live last year, I think, but I don't know his name. Yeah.
Well, it's the bass player, big beard, and, you know, he's a great singer. He was supposed to do it and he couldn't do it. So Tracy asked me to do it. I thought I was supposed to do just one song. It turned into the whole album. And then our schedules conflicted. And then he started asking other singers to do it, like Dee Snider and Stephen Pearcy and all these guys. And the label put their foot down and said, no, we want Michael to do it. So they just had to wait for me to do it, you know. And now I have the time, so I'm getting it done finally. And it's really like he calls it a black metal album. It's not a black metal album.
Man, I was getting worried.
No, I can assure you, it's not a black metal album. It's more of like Zeppelin meets Sabbath, meets LA Guns. It's more along those lines for sure than black metal.
With your voice, so you're gonna have that, you know, I mean, it's going to have a touch of, you know, you hear your solo stuff, or I suppose, or your Stryper stuff. So it'll have, because you're hearing you on it, it'll have that tinge of that on it as well. So I can't wait for that, man. That'd be cool.
Yeah, it's different. It's got my voice, but I'm really trying hard to do things that are a little different. The melodies are a little different. They're not so melodic. They're a little more odd and out there, but it's a cool album. It's getting a vibe. And as I'm singing it and going along, I'm tapping my foot, you know, going, yeah, all right, this is cool.
Listen, man, I want to talk about your production, because I know you want to talk about that, because I do, on the on the new album, because and I miss that production from a lot of bands now. When I listen to bands, and it's happening a lot now, I'm hearing, at first you think it's good, there's some of this modern production, then you realize it's like I've said this quite a few times, it's like a wall of sound almost. You can't pick out the instruments. I've even noticed lately bands with their snare drum, it's like a little tap. It's like the bass drum's like louder than the snare drum. And man, you nailed it on that. You really nailed the production on the Even the Devil Believes. It's like a
man, dude, that I tell you, that to hear you say that probably means more to me than anything else. And the reason why is because if people could come behind the scenes and be a part of our life in the studio, they might walk away. I know they would walk away with a different perspective. They would say, wow, that's not at all what I thought. I learned a lot and I know a lot more about the band now. But I mean, I'm the guy, not to take anything away from the other guys, because they work their butts off, but I'm the guy that if we start at noon, I'm there at 11. And if we end at 10, I'm there till midnight. Yeah. And, you know, it's just, I'm a ADHD, OCD guy. I've spoken about this many times, and I want everything to be perfect. Drums, bass, guitars, vocals, not just my guitar, not just my vocals. I want everyone to shine. And as the producer, and I really went for that on this album specifically.
Well, you know what, man? I used to be in a band years ago when I had hair, you know, and
dude, you could still rock. Come on.
Yeah. And I've also done a bit of filmmaking as well with my brother, just a bit of independent filming. And I used to act in the films as well. And I always felt that I did a bit of script writing and directing, and that meant more to me than being in acting and in a, you know, there was only muck about films, but when you direct and you see what you've done with the scripts, that's what meant more to me than anything. So I can see where you're coming from. You know, it's a lot more than just you being a singer, you know? Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, the thing is, we've all grown up around music our entire lives in studios. And I mean, I was in the studio when I was, 10 years old. My dad's a musician. So my dad would take me to the studio when he would go and record songs, and I'd be in there watching everything, looking around, like a kid in a candy store. And I was so fascinated by the gear and how they were doing everything. And I learned a lot. And I've always produced albums from the very beginning. It's just that, these other producers really get the credit for it. But truth be known, when we recorded our early Stryper albums, everything was all ready. Everything was written, all the parts were worked out, and the producers, all they had to do was press record and say, let's do that again, or that was perfect. That was pretty much it. not to take anything away from them, because we're grateful we worked with those guys. I mean, Michael Wagner and Tom Werman, all these guys are phenomenal. But I see myself as a producer just as much as I see myself as a musician.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I had all your albums, all the Stryper albums. I had them on shuffle the other day in my car, and the difference, when you hear, I mean, I still think the production was good for the 80s, on the Stryper albums. But when you put Even the Devil Believes against To Hell with the Devil, it's just no comparison. They're both good, but the production is just, it just comes through your speakers like nothing. It's so much better for me.
Well, man, I mean, that's amazing to hear you say that, because I mean, there are fans out there, quite a few of them, that wouldn't agree with that.
Nostalgia, man.
And
that's what it is.
It's crazy to me. I mean, and they'll say like, this production isn't even close to The Hell with the Devil, and I'm sitting there listening with my high-end headphones on, thinking, what are they hearing that I'm not? Because this new production is far superior. It's more what I want to hear in terms of production. It's clearer, it's punchier, and everything shines. Like, you listen to Soldiers Under Command, and this sounded good and that sounded good, but then there's no bass, and the kick drum was hardly, no punch to it. And there's so many things that bother me when I listen to that,
Well, we agree on that, man. The production was brilliant. So
thanks, brother. Thank you, man.
Right. I want to talk about something a little bit different now. Now, there was something on, I suppose I'm a bit naive, because I'm not a Christian. I suppose it's a question that I asked someone on social media the other day. I spend too much time on social media, by the way. So
so do I.
And it's probably the only, if you could call it controversial, I don't see it as that, but Middle Finger Messiah. There was a little debate about that song, the song title itself, the other day, and I had a bit of a dig back at a fan. Well, asked the question really, that out of all the bands out there at the moment that I follow, Stryper take the biggest, jabs. People are always having a go and criticizing. And this person said, it's because they're in the public eye and they're Christians and they have to be a certain way, and behave a certain way. I just wanted to know what it's like for you guys in the band. I mean, it's enough pressure anyway to write good material for the fans. What's it like to be in the public eye as a Christian and not go out of, do anything too out of place? I mean, look at Goddamn Evil, because you didn't put a comma in that title. You probably lost some fans,
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. Well, my answer to that question, it may surprise some people, but I've been living my life, especially the past 10 years, presenting who I really am. In other words, I don't want to present something to you where I'm this perfect guy. I go to church every Sunday. I read my Bible every day, because I'm not. I don't go to church every Sunday. I don't read my Bible every day. I'm not going to make you think that I do. I mean, I wish I did, but I don't, and I can't sometimes. But that being said, you've seen me with a cigar with Perry, or talking about enjoying a bourbon on occasion. Those things aren't what make you Christian or not. Yeah. Those things have nothing to do with Christianity. And I think people get this thought in their mind that if you're a Christian, you need to be sinless. And the fact is, nobody is sinless. Nobody will ever be sinless on earth.
Yeah.
So I don't try to be. I just be Michael Sweet, and that upsets people sometimes because I speak my mind, and I feel like the weight's been lifted off of me, because I don't live, portraying a perfect Christian life on social media or in person. If you came and sat down with me, and you hung out with me for a day, you might hear an F-bomb, and you might see me drinking a bourbon at night, and you might be thinking, wow, this guy's not acting like a regular Christian. And my view on that is, you know, that really truly has nothing to do with Christianity. I think that people are quick to judge others based on their own convictions. In other words, if there's an alcoholic person who's an alcoholic and they don't drink anymore, and they see you having a drink and you claim to be a Christian, they might get on you. But I think it's based on because of their own convictions.
Yeah.
Not so much yours. You know, they're quick to judge. And man, I try not to judge people. I just try to be a real person. I hope I'm making sense. And, you know, I wear my life on my sleeves. What you see is what you get with me. But I love God. And I so much so that I sing every song about God, and we record every album about God. And we don't hide that. We're proud of that. We love God. We have a deep faith. You know that.
Yeah.
But we're not perfect.
Of course. And listen, if you spent a day with me, you'd hear no F-bombs. None at all. Right. Okay. Michael, you know what? When I listen to your interviews and stuff, it's really refreshing. You talk about like your influences and that, because a lot of artists, don't they? They shy away and, oh no, we don't sound like anything. You know what I mean? We're our own band. You can't, you know, say we sound like this band, but you do. I really love that. I mean, I love the way you say, before anyone even asks, this one sounds like Judas Priest, or this has got a bit of a Dokken feel. I love that, man. And I just wanted to know, you've worked with loads of people now, like collaborations. You've got some other great ones coming up. Is there someone, you know, that is there someone that may not be possible because, I don't know, it might be too far away for you or something, or it never happened, but you really, really would want to work with, you know?
Oh man, God, there's so many. And I've expressed a few of them over the past few years. Van Halen's one of them.
Yeah, I thought so, yeah.
You know, I'm a big Van Halen fan. We grew up with Van Halen. I don't see that happening in this lifetime, because I get the feeling that they're done as a band, but you never know. I'd love to even just go to a show and go on stage and sing a song with them, you know?
Yeah.
I'd probably pass out, you know? I'd be like a fanboy and be so excited I wouldn't know how to handle it. Priest, Judas Priest, you know, I would love to work with Rob on something someday. I think that's probably more doable.
Yeah.
Possible. Yeah. And then there's a lot of other bands, you know, that I love. There's so many people I look up to, man. Obviously, George Lynch is one of my favorite guitar players, and who would have thought that I'd be making music with George?
Yeah.
We've made 2 albums. We're going to do a 3rd album together. He's one of my favorites, and he's an atheist.
Yeah.
I'm a Christian, and you know, we work well together. We make good music together. Well,
man, you worked with Todd LaTorra as well. What a great singer he is as well, isn't he?
Oh my gosh, I love Todd. Yeah. And it's funny because, you know, Todd's got that battle he has to face every day of all those fans. Not, you know, I think the majority really respect him and accept him, but the minority doesn't. There are people that still say, it's not Queensryche without Jeff Tate. And it's like, Todd sounds amazing. He sings better than Jeff Tate does now, and he sings all the old stuff and hits all the notes, and he does a fantastic job.
Man, amazing. I saw him just to go off track a little. I saw him in London about 4 years ago in a little, like about 500 people held in the O2 Islington, and with Todd, and I never saw him in the 80s, so you know, I thought, oh wow, I get to see Queensryche, and
right,
they were amazing, man. And you put something up there the other day about singers now, you know, in bands that, like you just said, where fans won't give them a chance. Journey being one of them. I've seen Journey with Arnel Pineda. I think I'm pronouncing it right. What a great singer. I don't understand. I'm just not. I'm like you. I like to give people a chance before I judge. You know. So there you go.
Me too. Yeah. I saw Journey back in the day with Steve Perry. Steve Perry's on my top 10 vocal list.
Me too.
All right. Love Steve Perry, brilliant. But you know, Steve isn't in Journey anymore. What
Yeah.
are you going to do? For whatever reason, maybe he doesn't want to be, or who knows? They parted ways. So Journey continues on. They got this amazing singer, Arnell, and he does a great job. He sings great. He performs great. He runs around on stage. I love watching him, and I think he's incredible. And there are fans that say he's, you know, he doesn't fit, and we won't go see Journey with him and the band. I'm just thinking, wow, that's really unfortunate.
I know.
Crazy.
There's so many bands like that now, man, that have got decent singers. But there you go. It's their loss, isn't it? It's their loss. So there you go.
It is, definitely.
All right, man. I want to talk about your songwriting process a little bit. So when you're obviously always thinking up stuff, do you separate your Stryper stuff, your solo stuff? Do you like come up with ideas and think, you know, that's a Stryper song there? Or is that how you do it?
I really don't. I mean, on rare occasion, I might be working on a song that I really, in between Stryper and solo albums, that I really like, and I'm in the back corners of my mind subconsciously thinking that wouldn't fit a Stryper album.
Yeah.
But I mean, when I start working on a Stryper album, I write a song a day, and all the songs that get written go on the album. You know, and that's why you have songs like How to Fly. You know, that might be the odd man out on this album, but yet I feel like you need those kinds of songs to kind of keep people's attention. If it was 10 versions of Even the Devil Believes, people would lose interest. It would get boring.
So much variety on the album, man. Just to go back to it, I mean, I was obviously doing those reactions. That was the best thing that easily I've done on the channel. But like to get that, look forward to that next song the next day was, even though I thought even though it took like a couple of weeks, I did struggle with it at first, because you know it's like you get a new album, man. You just want to listen to it. But people were having fun watching me listen to it. But it's brilliant.
I'm going to be honest, man. You know, I was having a blast watching your reaction videos, and then when you got into every song and you were going right through the list and getting every song, and I got to say, I agreed with like 95% of what you said, and the order you placed everything in, and your favorites and your least favorites. Totally, completely, exactly agreed with you. So I was like, wow, this guy's like my long lost brother here or something. Music.
Well, Do Unto Others. I don't know if you watched the video I did yesterday, but that's my favorite Stryper song ever. I mean, that song, man. I mean, your video is brilliant as well, but you said something on your Metal Voice interview that I said a few days before, and I couldn't believe it. Saying the verses are so heavy, like one of the heaviest.
And then the chorus is kind of like
sad, really sad, and melancholy, and
it's got a sad, more of a sad melody to it.
Yes,
and it kind of takes you totally somewhere else.
It does.
On the melody, especially. And
then the video brings it even more. What a video, man. I mean, when's Divider coming? When's that coming?
Divider's coming really soon, man. We're putting some finishing touches on it. The problem we had with Divider is we got footage of us out on the water at this old abandoned pump house. We were in that. We had to crawl around the side of it with the water all around us, the ocean, and then crawl into this thing. It was tricky. We got some cool footage, and then we've got some footage of us in the studio, but we wanted some live footage to make it more exciting.
Yeah.
We didn't have that.
Of course, yeah.
So we're trying to add a few things here and there, some stock footage and whatnot, to just make it a little bit more powerful. But it's coming soon. I would say within the week, probably by maybe October 5th, I think is when it might be coming.
Oh, that's cool. That is cool.
Oh, yeah.
So I know that you didn't write any of this album during the pandemic. You was, luckily enough, you was in the studio doing it already. were any of the lyrics written during any of this? Because I know it does really fit in with it, but it sounds like you was really inspired by what was going on in the world. But I mean, things like what are going on at the moment must give guys like you, artists like you, inspiration, especially.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I get a lot of inspiration from what's going on in the world and what I've experienced in my life. Believe it or not, man, this album, I started writing this album in mid-December. And roughly like on the 12th or 13th of December. And I had everything written right before Christmas. So that was pre-pandemic. And the lyrics were written. They got tweaked as we went along over the next 2 or 3 months.
Yeah.
Fine-tuned, but not written completely. So, I mean, it's very interesting to me when I think back about that. It's very interesting to me that those lyrics do apply to right now.
Yeah, definitely.
And, they're very relevant right here and right now. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool how that worked out.
It was. Hey, man, I've got to talk about your voice.
My voice. Oh, man.
So, listen, I mean, I've sort of had there's this thing going on. You probably see it all the time. Is Michael Sweet's voice better now than it was back then? It's different. It's a lot different. I find your voice.
It is.
It's a lot. I think you've got a lot more aggression in your voice compared to in the 80s. But I've got to ask you this question as a fan. I've been wanting to ask you. So, In God We Trust album. How tight were your spandex?
I'll tell you the truth. I'll tell you the truth with that album, man. Not a lot of people believe this when I tell them, but it's true. I got sick during that album. And I got so sick. I wound up with pneumonia, and I got so sick that we had to postpone the vocal sessions. So when it came back time to record the vocal sessions, I was still coming out of that.
Yeah.
So we wound up doing some things for me to be able to get the vocals on that album. A lot of different things, a lot of doubling. We used to do things back in the day where we would never speed up albums from the original tempo, but what we would do is slow down the albums to sing to just a bit. And then when you put them back at normal pitch,
yeah,
your voice is a little higher sounding and it was a little easier to sing. We didn't do that a lot, but we did that more often on that album in particular. Absolutely. Yeah. And it created like, and not only that, but the way I was singing and I had a different approach to singing, and man, that was ridiculously high. I mean, I really sounded like a girl on that album. There's no question about it. And I laugh about that all the time. I joke about it all the time. I sound like a chick on that album for sure.
Oh man, I wanted to ask you about the speeding up, but that's quite a good answer you gave me there. So this is cool. See, I'm starting to get a few things off my chest here.
Well, see, you know what we would do? We would, and we still do it to this day at times. See, a lot of times with Pro Tools, you don't really have a speed adjustment like you did back on the 2-inch machines. Okay. There was actually a speed knob on the machines. You could slow and speed up the 2-track itself. Oh, the 24-track 2-inch tape. Pro Tools, you can't do that quite the same. So we would, back in the day, when we do background vocals, we'd track 3 or 4 tracks at normal speed, then 3 or 4 tracks slowed down, then 3 or 4 tracks sped up. And what that would do, it would change our voice just enough where we sounded like different people. And then we would layer it, then layer it, then layer it. And we would build all these tracks, and it would just be Oz and I. And then when it was done, it would sound like a flipping choir, It was crazy.
Mad, absolutely mad. I want to ask you about your solo stuff, man. So, like, in my opinion, I've seen like social media go mad with the Stryper album, and so it should. You know, it's a brilliant album. I don't see from your fans the same sort of intensity when it comes to promoting your solo stuff. And you know what, your last few solo albums, for me, it's a bit like getting a double dose of Stryper. You're in full metal mode, you know, and they've been absolutely brilliant albums, if not as good as your Stryper albums. And I don't know do you see that? I don't see the promotion there from the fans as much on your solo albums, and I think they deserve just as much as your Stryper stuff.
Yeah, I do see it, and you know, I understand it to a degree. I think what happens with fans is, you know, they're very loyal, and I think sometimes they feel like when I'm doing a solo album, or if they support a solo album, that they're being unloyal to Stryper. I don't think all fans think that way, but I think some fans do. That might keep some fans from getting behind it. And then I think there are those fans too that just won't give it the time of day.
Yeah.
Because it's not Stryper. It's like, I don't want to hear it. That's solo. Yeah.
Do you think there could be a little bit of fear there that, you know, if you have real success as a solo artist, you might leave Stryper in the back of their minds? You know, I don't think you're going to do that, but I mean, that might be a factor. I don't know.
Maybe. It probably is. I would think that that's a factor. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
But it bums me out all the same. It doesn't stop me from doing solo albums, but it is frustrating because I put just as much work, if not more work, into the solo albums.
Yeah.
Because you know, it's a lot of work, and to see it kind of, I don't want to say fall by the wayside, but fans not really support it. Yeah, you know, you listen to Son of Man or Better Part of Me, and those songs are up there with you know, Blood from Above. Oh yeah. You know, but they were all lyric videos, but the numbers for those solo songs are half or a third of what the numbers are for the Stryper songs, because I don't know. It's hard to explain, man. I don't really get it, but I think the albums hold their own. They sound great, man. I'm really pleased with how those solo albums turned out.
Oh man, they're great. They're really great. I mean, they've come on at the same time as your Stryper album, haven't they? They're brilliant to listen to. So, a couple of more questions, man. Not many, but I've got a couple of fan ones, I suppose, from me. You know, that I want to know. So, Yahweh, one of my favourite Stryper songs, and I think you're hinting at
mine too.
Oh, great! I really think you're hinting at a 10, 11, 12-minute epic track here. I think your Stryper, you know, I know, you know, you don't usually go past 5 or 6 minutes, but man, you know, that Yahweh song, that's hinting at definitely a Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner type song there.
Oh yeah, no, it's got that, it's got the 4 songs within one thing.
Definitely.
Going.
Yeah.
You know, mainly because of the tempo changes.
Yeah.
But, you know, I always wanted to do that with the song. Stryper's not really a band that does that often, as you said. We leave that to other bands like, you know, Megadeth and, you know, all these other bands that do that normally. But it's fun to do it. And I'm sure one of these days, especially now that you're asking, I'm sure one of these days we'll come up with a song that's 10 or 11 minutes long. Yeah. And, I mean, you know, the problem is we got to make it good. And that's the hard part. It can't just be 11 minutes long.
Yeah.
It's got to be 11 minutes long and epic. And that's the tricky part.
Well, usually the good ones, they seem like they're running on for 5 or 6 minutes. They don't seem like they're on for 12 minutes, do they? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Someone said to me, ask Michael to do a 12-minute instrumental. I said, I don't really want that. I want some singing on there as well. No, that's too much. Yeah,
people ask that all the time. When are you going to do an instrumental or instrumental album and this and that? And I'm thinking, that's not what we do, you know?
Nah, definitely not. I don't want that.
Now, who's to say, I mean, if we did an instrumental, maybe we could do something that would make people go, okay, wow, that's not bad. That's cool. But I don't think we do a whole instrumental album. That's not our thing.
Maybe one of them 2-minute ones at the beginning of the album to set it off. That'll do, man.
Exactly. Exactly.
Right. Last one for me, man. I mentioned, I said to you earlier on that I've seen Queensryche. So they were one of the bands in the 80s that I never got to see. I saw Tesla as well. I don't know if you like Tesla. Love Tesla. So I got to
Tesla. Yeah. We play with Tesla all the time.
Man, they're great. I got to see them as well in the same venue in London, in the O2 Islington, in front of like 400 or 500 people. So, man, I've never seen Stryper live. I know you came to the UK in the 80s.
Oh man,
what's going on,
buddy? we gotta resolve that issue. We gotta fix that. The tricky part is, and by the way, Tesla, they're great people too, man. They're good friends of ours. But we don't make it back across the pond often.
I know.
You know, back to Europe and the UK, and I'm not really sure why. I mean, other than it's financially a problem. It's tough for us to make enough money where we don't go in the red and lose money, and that's very difficult for us. And unfortunately, when we get offers from Europe, they're lower than offers here in the States.
Yeah.
So our budget is much lower, and in terms of what we could bring in, so it keeps us from coming and going. And it's sad because we have so many fans there. We really want to get back, man. But if we don't get back to the UK, we got to get you here to the US to see a show.
Oh man, I didn't want to say that, but if you insisted.
Now, are you, when we get out of this COVID craziness, are you up for getting on a plane and flying, or no, you don't like to fly?
No, I don't like flying, but I'll be there.
We got to work that out, man. That would be awesome.
Oh man, that'd be great. That would be great. I did say to me missus I was going to ask you that, but I didn't. You mentioned it, so that was all right.
Now, you just said me missus. What's your wife's name?
Sarah. So
Sarah.
I was recently 50, man, on the 29th of August, and we got married on my birthday.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, there was only
well, congratulations. That's
cheers,
amazing.
Man. Thanks. There was only a few people allowed, but
Is she familiar with the band at all? Does she hear any of the music or no?
Yeah, she's told me not to creep around you too much during the interview. Nah, man. She with my music, she likes some metal music, but not an awful lot. She's more into the sort of I suppose heavy rock sort of stuff.
I got you. Yeah.
She's not really into the metal type stuff, but because I obviously I've been on Stryper marathon, for the last month and a half.
Dude, that's I think it's amazing and it's inspiring. It really is, and you do it with such passion, and it spreads. You make other people more passionate about Stryper. It's really cool.
There's a few people actually that have, and I always said, even if it's one person, there's a few people that have said that they didn't realize Stryper was so good. It's like you said, if people give you a chance, and people have been on my channel and have said they're getting hold of all your stuff now because they've been listening to me. So I'm happy about that, man. Even if it's one person, that's cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're slowly but surely converting all these people that haven't given us a chance or didn't know about us or what have you. And we see them at shows. There's a whole new generation of Stryper fans out there. It's amazing. Incredible.
Oh, that's great, man. If we can spread the word a little bit more, that's cool.
Well, we appreciate you, man. Everything that you do, God bless you, and thank you for all that you do. And we got to get you to a Stryper show. Hopefully it's going to be there in the UK.
Well, listen, Mrs. would come to a Stryper show as well.
Well, look, if that happens, I shouldn't say if, I should say when. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's just when. But when that happens, we'll set you guys up, man. We'll give you the red carpet treatment, okay?
Oh, man, that would be so cool.
We'll give you a tour of the stage, and you come back and hang with us all night and be a part of the band,
I'm there already.
We'll make it happen. We will make it happen.
Well, look, man, thanks for talking to me. It's been great. It's been an honor. It really has.
Hey, brother, I hope I didn't keep you up too late. I'm sorry about the confusion, okay?
Nah, that was my fault. I should read my text better, but
Hey, brother. Well, I just appreciate everything that you do. Thank you for having me. It's been an honor. And, you know, I hope you get some rest tonight and go about your business tomorrow, whatever you're doing. And once this is live, I'll put it up on my Facebook. Okay.
Perfect. Cheers, man. All right.
All
Speak
right,
soon.
brother. See you, man.